Hello, Thomas. Do you have some time to discuss about your application at Google?
Yes.
Let's start the technical interview. Please listen carefully to each question.
Okay.
This is the first question. Is HTTP more secure than HTTPS? Option 1 is false. Option 2 is true. Choose one option.
Option 1, false.
Yes, that is correct. Well done. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes, I'm ready for the next one.
Please hold on while I save it. Saved. Let's continue.
Okay.
That was correct. Okay. The second one goes like this. Is React Native a programming language? Option 1 is true. Option 2 is false. Choose one option.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. The second one goes like this. Is React Native a programming language? Option 1 is true. Option 2 is false. Choose one option.
Option 2, false.
That is correct. Way to go. That was all for today. Do you want to go to the final phase?
Yes, I want to go to the final phase.
Please hold on. I'm saving the question. Awesome. Last question. Saved.
Great.
Please hold on while I save it. The question has been saved. Let's move on.
I want to know the result, please.
Please hold on while I get the result. Got it. Do you want to get the answer?
Yes, please.
Congratulations on making it this far. When would be a good date and time for the final meeting? Wishing you the best of luck in this last step of the process.
A good time would be tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Hold on a sec. Thank you for taking the time to chat today. Have a great day.
Very well. Okay, that's how we can build a complex HR interviewer. Hey guys, platforms like Vapi are day by day more and more robust, and the AI voice capability expands every second. In this video, we will show how to build a complex scenario with an AI HR technical recruiter that will perform a software engineer technical interview. We'll save all the answers, let the candidate know if they did well, and if they did, they will ask for a date so they can do the last vibe check meeting with one of their human employees. Today we will do a walkthrough from this kind of Vapi workflows, how to set up all the Vapi tools, and of course how to buid a backend, a server. This also can be made in n8n. How to build the engine to support all this logic. These kind of systems are real-life systems. We develop something similar for an HR customer, and these kind of engines are the one that you guys can integrate to a SaaS or any interface and actually start selling it to HR agencies. Let's go. First of all, in workflows, we have global prompt and global voice. They are the global stuff for all the workflow. In the global prompt, we can set the tone and the personality of the assistant. But basically here we are going to manage everything with this node. These nodes are fragments of the conversation. For example, in the first fragment, we are greeting the customer and letting them know why we're calling them. And here we describe how the agent must behave, what it should say, and how it behave along the conversation. Here is the most important part, these conditions. The way that Vapi uses to go to the next steps is only if these conditions are met. So the most important part in this kind of scenarios is that we have to make the user say something. For example, if we end the last one with, "Are you ready to start the interview?" If they say yes, or they say that they are actually ready to start the interview, this condition will be met, and only then we will be able to go to the next node. In the next node, here basically we are letting them know that the interview is starting, and here we can spot question 1 is all the variables that we can set here. We are setting the question, the right answer, and of course the candidate metadata. So here, not only we are giving these variables to the workflow before the workflow starts, but also a very powerful feature is that each node can gather information. They can understand, they have the answer and the question, so they can know if the answer was correct, and also they can grab the candidate answer. So we now have extracted 2 extra properties. These conditions, as I said, they were very important, but they also support dynamic variables. So if the candidate answer match the correct answer, or if the previous node extracted variable that was answer 1 was correct is true, then this condition would be met. Here we have a bifurcation in the flow, and basically here we are saying, great, that was correct. Are you ready for the next one? Condition here. And in this side, we say, that's not correct. The actual answer was, and here we embed the actual correct answer. Then we have this tool. We're going to go through tools later, but basically here is where we are saving the question. That's why in the demo, we heard something like, please hold on while I save it, or saved, let's continue. But we're going to go to tools later. Okay, here we're going to go to the second question. That is actually really similar to this node, but just instead of using the question now one and answer one, we are using the question 2 and answer 2. Here, the process is similar. We use the same conditions and we congratulate the user, or we let them know that that was not correct. Here is when we give them a path to the user and ask, hey, you want to go to the final phase? So they can say yes, or yes, I want to go to the final phase to meet this condition. Here is another tool really similar to the first question. We are saving the result, and then it's okay that then we're going to one of the last notes. This was everything. Do you want to know the result of the interview? Yes, they want to do. So here we are using another tool to actually process in our backend with our custom logic to decide if the interview was approved or rejected. And here is a very interesting part. As we see, this tool is called get result, and our backend, our server, is going to decide if the interview was approved or not. And we're going to send that in the result of this tool. That's why here we can use the name of the tool, that result, to make this condition work. If it was approved, we're going to take this path. If it was rejected, we're going to say, okay, don't worry, we're going to have you for next searches. But if it was approved, we're going to congratulate them, gather information from them. When do you want to do the final interview? And here we are extracting the variable that will contain the dates of their next session. Once they provide the dates, we're going to trigger this tool that will actually create a new meeting in our database. And then finally, we get to the end of the call. This is a complex workflow. In this video is a small version with only 2 questions, so we can understand the dynamics in a simplified way. But using all these tools, introducing variables in the workflow, extracting variables in the nodes, or even using variables in the condition of the transitions, here we are using a lot of very powerful tools within Vapi that can help us create really complex workflow. Having that said, let's go and check out the tools. Basically here in the tools, we have the name, the description, and we're going to save the answer, the right answer, the right question, if it was answered correctly, the number of the question, and what the candidate said. The good thing here is that we can actually use the same variables that we were using in the workflow. So here we are using answer 1 because it's the first one. Then doing the same thing with question 1 is correct. We are grabbing the variables extracted from the node. Answer 1 was correct. And the other variable extracted from the node that was the actual answer of the candidate. Here we have our server URL and our secret token. In one of our previous videos, I will leave the link here, we specify how to use this secret token to actually add a lot of security to the webhooks or the endpoints that you use in this kind of tools. Here we're setting up the messages. Okay, hold on while I save the question, or save, let's continue. If we want to try to hide the fact that this is an AA, we will say, let me take notes, or something more casual. The same with question 2, interview results. Here we are not sending any parameters. The only thing that we need here is the call ID. That's why we're using a tool and not API request node in the workflows, because the tool brings a lot of metadata in the requests that we can grab to actually identify from which active call we are receiving this tool. And finally, the scheduling meeting that we are sending the candidate name, email, schedule date, and job company. Okay, having that said, this is everything that we have done in Vapi's side. So let's go to the code and see how this works. Okay, as I said, this is a simplified version of the real world example because we are treating the workflow within the Vapi dashboard. In the next video, that will be the last series of our HR AI agent team. So in the next video, we're going to show how to integrate the first screening meeting, that is the technical interview. And in the next video, we're going to bundle up everything and integrate it actually to a website. You can bundle this and actually sell stuff like this to actual HR agencies. This is a real world proven case that works and it's useful for real agencies. Okay, now having that said, let's dive in. Here we have this secret token that we use to verify that Vapi is the one that is actually making the request. So we can grab that using the header x Vapi secret. So, and if that match with our store token, means that it's actually Vapi, the author of the request. When I said that tools have a lot of metadata, I meant this. They are not only sending you all the parameters that we set in the tool. we're also getting the tool call ID and most importantly, the call ID. Okay, so the first thing that we do is find the interview, and we do that using the call ID identifier. Here's what we have here. If it doesn't exist, we will create a new interview using that call ID, the questions, and an empty state. In this case, we are starting with 0 questions, 0 answers. For this example, we're going to use 2 questions, and we're going to start the interview. What happened next is that we are going to get from the payload the question and the answer. That's why we first got the first question and the first answer. And if the answer was correct, thing that we get in the payload of the Vapi tool here is correct, that we're setting here. If it's correct, we're going to increase the counter of the correct answers. And we're going to answer the tool call with the tool call ID and the result of the question. Then we go to the second question, and we trigger this exact same endpoint. In this case, the interview will exist, so this won't run. And we're doing the same thing again, saving the second question, the second answer. And if it was correct, we're going to increase the counter again. In this case, both were correct. And then, as we remember, after saving the second question, we want to get the result of the interview. So what we're doing here, we're going to the interview result. Here in every endpoint, we are using the Vapi secret validation to secure every endpoint. And here we are, first of all, looking for the interview with the call ID. If the amount of answers is the same that the total question, we're going to set the interview as completed here. And if the amount of correct answers are equal to the amount of total questions, we are going to decide that that interview is approved. Here, it's a very basic example. You can see this is a placeholder, and here we can write and decide our own logic to decide if interviews are approved or not. And of course, we can have much more questions and make sure that they have deep knowledge in the required skills that they need to check. So here they actually completed the interview, and here we're returning that the interview was approved. That's why using that response, Vapi was able to decide if the interview was rejected or approved. In this case, it was approved. And after getting the last details, we trigger the last endpoint that was scheduling the call. Here we're creating the next meeting, so the human candidate can do the last vibe check with the candidate and, I don't know, tell them the benefits or the proposal of the candidate. As we can see here, we actually booked this next meeting in our DB. The final meeting was scheduled, and we have all the information of the candidate and also the previous call ID, so we can always have access to how they did in the technical interview and maybe show that in the platform that we can build for them. So how to take this to a real world example? As I said previously, in the next video, that will be the last of our HR series, we are going to integrate this team of AI agents into a real platform so we can bundle this as a software as a service, or just sell this directly to one AI agency to help them handle the enormous amount of candidates and resumes that they are getting nowadays. Nowadays, the job seekers are generating resumes with AI. HR candidates are dealing with a humongous amount of candidates, so they are seeking from help of creators like you or like me, so we can create systems like these ones and provide this kind of system to them so they can reduce the amount of operative time that they have to do manually screening and technical interviewing each candidate. Having that said, feel free to drop any comment below, to hop on our Discord server to chat about this kind of solutions. Thanks a lot for watching the video, and see you in the next one.